Yeah. Welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. I think somebody's on. Is that me? That's me. Maybe. All right. Pardon me, y'all. Little reverb there. But welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast Live. Thank you for being here. Appreciate everybody who's watching on this live. And of course, appreciate those of you watching on the replay. So we got a great show planned for you tonight to talk about an amazing weekend in college football with a lot of I don't even know how to describe it, but a lot of huge things came out of that weekend and basically put the college football world on its head, right? And so we are going to get right into that. But before we do, first, let me give a shout out to my guy, Ryan Langford, former Fighting Illini, Indianapolis Colt, Ottawa Red Black, Winnipeg Blue Bomber. I'm forgetting one.
BC Lion. You got
Lion. There we go. All right. Former wide receiver and kick return specialist. What's good, Ryan?
Hey, man. Glad to be here as always. Thank you.
Always glad to have you here, man. And we have another face, a face you guys may or may not know. You should already if you watch this show. But it's our guy, Carlos Rios, co-host of the Be Ready Sports Podcast. Because in order to be ready, what you got to do, Carlos?
Stay ready, y'all. Stay ready.
That's right. What's good, Carlos?
Hey, man. What's good, Bruce?
All right, man. Thank you for taking the time out to join us tonight, Carlos, man. I know you're busy with everything, but it's an honor to have you here, bro.
Thank you.
No doubt. Real quick, programming note. I'm sure you guys hear my voice doesn't sound like it normally does. Literally yesterday I could barely talk. I had no voice at all, but I've been trying to get to talking to a minimal, drinking all the tea and the honey and all that good stuff. But this was a major show that I did not want to miss because, again, it was such a major weekend in the world of college football. So I'm so excited to discuss that with all you guys. So let's go ahead. We'll give a shout out to the channel members. Then we'll go ahead and get it cracking. So first, of course, number one channel member, host of the Be Ready Sports Podcast, my main man, Coach T. What up, Coach T? Thank you so much for all your support. And thank you for sending over your co-host to kick it with us, man. We appreciate you lending them to us for the night. Next up, Baltimore Bruce. What's good, Baltimore Bruce? Always keeping me sharp in the DMs, preparing me to go to war with all my guests and whatnot, and whoever else I got to face in these debates, man. Iron sharpens iron. Thank you so much for that. And thank you for your support. It's not that serious. What's good, brother? How you doing? Thank you for your support as always. Chief Sid Bubba, thank you for everything you did for our great nation. And thank you for what you do for this channel. And of course, shout out to the boys from Annapolis. All right. Also, newest members, my main man, Steve Splendor, king of the chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting. I appreciate you. And of course, host of the SMT Media Network podcast, aka Sneed Got What You Need. Thank you so much for your support as well. And thank you for all the times you came and kicked it with us and hosted the show with myself and Transformer, man. So the show is growing. Keep it growing by making sure you share this, like, subscribe, and do the hype. You get 3 hypes a week, I think. That's the new thing for the content creators. Make sure you hype the channel. All right, that's enough of that. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit the spiel. And then after the spiel, we're going to get back and we are going to talk some college football. Let's go. If you're watching here on YouTube, make sure you go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we drop new content on the channel. If you want the audio-only version of the podcast, open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in The Format Podcast. We should come right up. If you're enjoying the content, make sure you give us a like, leave us a 5-star review, and drop a comment. All that stuff helps us rise in the algorithm, helps us find more sports fans, helps more sports fans find us. Make sure you write it down, put it in your phone, make a note of it. The Format Podcast is live Sunday mornings at 10 a.m. Eastern. And finally, if you're really and truly enjoying the content we're delivering you, make sure you hit that join button. There's going to be exclusive content here just for you. You. Yeah, hit the button. Hit the join button. You. I know who you are, and I know you're watching. All right, y'all. Let's get right to it, man. the number one story. And obviously, week 7 in the college football season was absolutely huge last week. Had some incredible season and maybe even program defining type wins. But I think obviously, if you know anything about college football, if you're a college football fan, the biggest story of the weekend was Penn State, after starting the season ranked second in the country and being expected by many to be a contender, if not an eventual national champion, has fired their longtime head coach, James Franklin, after a 3-game skid. First losing in double overtime to Oregon, followed by a shock loss to unranked UCLA, and then another shock loss and losing their quarterback for the year, Drew Aller, to Northwestern. I'm going to start with our guy, Carlos. Carlos, what do you think of this James Franklin firing?
Wow. I can't believe how hard Penn State fell. Last year they were in this, national championship picture in the, I believe, semifinals against Notre Dame. Your Irish Bruce.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, man. But I can't believe it, man. Coming into this year, they were the number 2 team in the country. High expectations. Drew Aller, Nicholas Singleton, Katron Allen.
Sure.
A bunch of offensive weapons. Syracuse transferred Trevor Pena at receiver. That team had very high expectations, man. They started off 3-0 against 3 not the best opponents, Villanova, FIU, and Nevada.
Right.
And they played Oregon, double OT loss. And then truly that UCLA loss was shocking. And then the nail in the coffin was the Northwestern loss.
Yeah.
And James Franklin got fired. So I believe he was going to get fired either now or at the end of the season. And I'm glad Penn State pulled the trigger. Franklin's out. Now who's going to take over? We're going to find out soon. I don't know who's going to be, but we're going to see down the line.
Absolutely. Ryan, obviously, we know that you are a guy who clearly is very close to Penn State, literally. Give us your thoughts. For those of y'all who don't know, Ryan's dad, Paul Langford, is Penn State alumni and longtime Miami Dolphin. So obviously that's why I said Ryan is, extremely close to Penn State by virtue of his dad, man. Tell me, what were your thoughts when you heard this? What are your thoughts now that you've had, a couple of days to kind of marinate on the news? Where are you on this, Ryan?
Yeah, well, it's never a good time when you have to fire a coach, and there's never the right way to fire a coach. Now, I think that there was time that, hey, this is about the sign that these guys got to go. He's not doing what he's need to do. And, like what Carlos said, I'm glad that if they were thinking of this decision, they went ahead and made the decision now, right? So they can go ahead and start making the adjustments and start preparing for what comes next. I asked my dad kind of how he felt. He was just like, hey, when you're not winning games, that's what happens. So I'm interested to see who they bring in next. I think this is always a pivotal point in any type of program. There's always a little lull when it takes time to, bounce back, but there's always a lot of positivity once that happens. So I'm interested to see who comes in and who can kind of turn the program around and take them to where they want to go next.
Yeah, absolutely. So, man, my thoughts on this was, and remember, Ryan, you and I kind of discussed this after the Oregon loss. Right. And then again after the UCLA loss. And I'm like, this guy's done. He needs to be out of here after the season ends. I just didn't expect it to happen this quickly. Right. But, I guess when you get 3 straight losses when, the program invested a lot in you, the program invested a lot in its players and really expected to be competing for a championship this year, following that Michigan and Ohio State model, bring everybody back that you can that's eligible, as well as, go into the transfer portal, grab a couple more guys who may or may not be difference makers and try to get over the top, right? We saw Michigan do it 2 years ago. We saw Ohio State do it last year. So Penn State said, we're going to follow the model and we're going to make it happen. And they fell woefully short. I mean, we're halfway through the season and they're already out of the playoff chase. Right. It would take an absolute miracle for that to happen. And I don't see it happening not just because they have 3 losses, but because of how bad the losses were, right? Oregon, maybe you could survive that, but UCLA, who at the time was winless, and unranked, and then you follow that up with Northwestern, who is not a very good Big Ten program right now. It's bad, and it just James Franklin, he knew the record coming in. He knew what it was in terms of big game performances. And, well, he lived up or lived down to that, depending on how you look at it. Let's see, what was it? And this is the record you hear getting thrown around constantly. His record at Penn State versus top 10 teams is 4-21. And two were Boise State and SMU in the playoff last year.
Right.
It's not going to get it done, you know?
Right.
Yeah. So, you know, was it? I think he's 4-17 overall against Ohio State and Michigan in that, you know, in that time in the Big Ten. That's not going to get it done. Penn State, whether they are or not, consider themselves still to be one of the blue blood college football programs. Mm-hmm. And James Franklin has them consistently winning the games that they should win, but not winning the games they need to win. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's where the problem came in. And again, not just losing, but losing to teams you have no business losing to after a huge investment. And also, I believe they have already made a 9-figure investment to upgrade the stadium, which is crazy because Happy Valley already looks freaking insane. And so now you're putting an extra, you know, what is that, extra $100 million into it? Like, that's about to be nuts. That's about to be one of the nicest, you know, venues in the country. So all of that, and you're not getting it done, man. You got to figure it out. So we got Bruce in the chat. What up, Bruce? Saying, roll Tide and go Buffs. Anyway, let's go who? I told you Maryland wasn't going to do anything as soon as they start playing people. But anyway, not the point. Yeah, so this James Franklin thing is crazy. Another note on that, they fire him, and they have the second largest buyout in history, $50 million. The only one larger than that was when Texas A&M fired Jimbo Fisher with $70 million on the book. And that was crazy. So, all right, guys, now, not only do you fire him, not only do you have to find a new coach, a guy who can recruit, a guy who can coach, but also you got to deal with somebody you got to pay while still paying James Franklin. Like, how do you think all that works out?
I think people, they understand what they're doing, right? I think they're hurt at the gamble, you know, that it didn't pay off by now. But I think they see, or the athletic director probably on paper knows financially, like, all right, we can afford to make this move, right? To make this exit right now. Or it's the most financially right decision to make this exit right now, rather than hold on and do whatever we need to do to try to turn this around. You know, you might be thinking about the record that you just mentioned. Like, all right, you know, it's not just these 3 games; it's the 4 wins. You know, so I think that's really the only way that they're kind of looking at it. And money is just part of it.
Carlos, man, your thoughts on that huge buyout, and then still, you know, having to pay another coach, and, you know, going through all the normal stuff that a big time program has to go through.
Yeah, definitely. So definitely taking out James Franklin, you know, you take him out of the picture. Now you got to find a new coach. Now, what Penn State's going to have to do is called poaching. Basically, they're going to have to go after a coach where basically he's doing a really good job at another program, convince him to leave that program who's doing really well at, to come to Penn State. So I think that's the challenge for Penn State. Can they convince coaches who are doing a really good job at their programs right now and try and poach them to come to Penn State? That's going to be the challenge for Penn State.
Mm-hmm. Great point, Carlos. So let me ask both of you guys this. With Penn State, okay, so obviously they see themselves as a blue blood, and I'm sure some people see them as a blue blood. I think they're a high-level tier 2 program, right? They're not quite there with the Alabamas and the Georgias and the Ohio States, right? But they're there near the top of tier 2, kind of with the Michigans and the Notre Dames and the who else? Well, Georgia's a tier 1 program as well, but you get the point, right? I think they're right there around the top of tier 2. And so you wonder, do other people see Penn State as that level program where they are now able to pull another good coach out of where they are to come over there? Because I think that's the thing, like with NIL and transfer portal and all that, it's kind of hard for a lot of schools to maintain that prestige and whatnot if they haven't won championships recently, right? To be considered currently a tier 1 program. So it's like, do you think that these coaches see Penn State the way Penn State sees Penn State in order to be able to pull them away from where they are?
I think so. I think historically Penn State is still going to be one of those traditional programs. And I also think, too, any head coach looking for a position, too, sees Penn State's history and the fact that Penn State is right on the cusp of like being that program. And every coach in the country who is striving to be a head coach knows in their heart that they can turn a team around and make them a national champion. You get what I'm saying? So every coach is, if they get their opportunity and they're at a position that's, not that great, or they're kind of ready to take their next step and Penn State comes to them, I think as a coach trying to have a coaching job, you got to entertain the opportunity.
Yeah, okay. So, Carlos, let me ask you this. Yep. You're a Florida State guy, right?
Yep.
Okay, so let's say, hypothetically, Mike Norvell gets fired, right? Let's say he gets fired. Or maybe Gus Malzahn decides to move on at the end of this year. Would you leave, if it's you, would you leave Florida State if you're the coach for Penn State?
Like from Penn State to Florida State, or Florida State?
No, Florida State to Penn State. Because based on what Ryan said, he thinks that Penn State is still viewed as one of those top tier blue blood programs. So I'm curious to know, like, do you see it that way? As in, if you're a coach at Florida State, would you leave Florida State to go coach Penn State?
I don't think so, because where Florida State's at, Florida State's in Tallahassee. They're in the state of Florida, the gold mine of recruits. Compared to Penn State, they're in Pennsylvania. Definitely the recruit, and definitely Florida's way better than the Northeast. Definitely, and I guess you can say that, right, Bruce?
Yes and no, right? Obviously, Florida is one of the top states for high school talent. However, if you're at Penn State, right, you have the DMV, DC, Maryland, Virginia, right there, which puts out way more prospects than people think. You have Ohio right next to you, which is a top 5 football state in the country. So they put out a ton of prospects. You have New Jersey right there next to you, which a lot of people don't realize. A lot of players come out of New Jersey. For instance, Mark Ingram, who won the Heisman at Alabama, he's from New Jersey. Jonathan Taylor, star NFL running back right now, he's from New Jersey. Like, New Jersey has a lot of guys in the league, offensive linemen, running backs. They have a few receivers they put into the league. So New Jersey is like no slouch. Again, I'm not saying it's Florida, but when you look at the immediate proximity of all these states around Pennsylvania, there's a lot of recruits to be had. I think what happens is that there is Ingram from Michigan. He might be Steve. Check that out for me, please, Steve. He might be. But the point is, regardless, there's still a lot of, high level recruits in that area. But I think there is, and don't get me wrong, Florida has a ton of outstanding, superstar level athletes. But I will also say, like, there's also this kind of mindset, a groupthink, that the athletes are only in the South, and that's not really the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So I mean, yeah, right there within state, you got a ton if you're Florida State, but then you have to battle Florida and Miami, and on a lower level, UCF for all those guys. If you're Penn State, who you really like fighting against in that area besides maybe Ohio State, right? You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So I don't think, if you really focus on it, I don't think recruiting is in a bad spot at Penn State at all.
Yeah, true. You'll definitely have athletes everywhere. The Northeast, the South, California, Texas. Yeah, there's definitely athletes everywhere. But Penn State's in the Big Ten, Florida State in the ACC. I'm pretty sure we can all agree, Ryan, Bruce, that Big Ten is a way better conference than the ACC. Way better conference.
Yeah,
Big Ten,
for sure.
Way better conference. And if you go to Penn State, you'll play way better opponents like the Ohio States, like the Michigans, like now Indiana now is on the come up. And in the ACC, who do you have? Like Georgia Tech, Virginia, who's down at top 20.
Miami, yeah, it's about.
And Miami too. Yeah, Miami too. But
Clemson is.
I don't know, but Clemson's not the Clemson we all know.
No, it's not. That's correct. Right.
But I would entertain the option. That definitely, I would entertain the option. But if the money's right, then I'll kind of make the move. If the money's right.
Right. I got you. And that's kind of what I was getting at, just in terms of just trying to get a feel for maybe how other people see Penn State versus how Penn State sees itself. and the reason I was going there, well, now we're kind of going to the next part of this thing, is who would be the coach? Because it's one thing just to fire a coach. The next part is, okay, who do you bring in to replace him? And you got all these factors that we discussed. And some of the leading candidates being considered are Matt Rule, who's currently coaching Nebraska. And he's the guy that's kind of known for turning programs around. He's helped Nebraska kind of raise back up after their doldrums under Scott Frost, which was crazy. But anyway, that's a different thing. Also, he helped Baylor really, get back into a very good spot after the Art Briles controversy. He did a good job making Temple a 10-win team consistently. So Matt Rule can coach. He can, develop programs. Kurt Signetti, obviously, is the big name everybody's talking about. He's in Indiana. I tell you what, though, if it's me, I don't know if I'm leaving Indiana, right? Because he's got Indiana doing things Indiana's never done before.
Yeah.
They're getting paid. You go to Penn State, that pressure is going to be gigantic. I don't know if he strikes me as a dude who would be bothered by that, but that pressure would be insane. And I don't know if you do that. Yeah.
I don't think he's
another name, we just briefly discussed this before I pressed the button here to start the stream. Apparently, a leading candidate being considered is Marcus Freeman from Notre Dame. Now, Marcus Freeman's not going anywhere. This guy went to Notre Dame and him and his whole family converted to Catholicism. He's not going anywhere. Like that's not happening. But in all seriousness, he really and truly seems to love being the Notre Dame head coach and love that school and love that environment. But I get it. If you're Penn State, you got to swing big, right? So you got to have, your people reach out to his agent and see at least, hey, what would it take? Are you willing to consider it? Although I don't think Freeman is willing to. Now, here's an interesting name that I think may be very viable, and that's Fran Brown in Syracuse. He's got that offense rocking and rolling for like the last couple of years. And they had a Syracuse, mind you, 10-3 record last season. That's pretty freaking good, He's a younger guy. He's energetic. He's got, yeah, Steve, shout out Catholics. He's got, a lot of energy. Seems like a pretty good offensive scheme. So that's an interesting thought. Okay, Steve says Penn State's best option is Brett Bielema from Illinois, Matt Rule from Nebraska, Clark Lee from Vandy. I like that Clark Lee. I do.
Yeah, Vandy could be
ending defensive mind, right? And he's got a better chance to win if he could get to Penn State and get out of the SEC, and not just at the SEC, but you're the only true academic school in the conference. Like that's tough sledding. So what he's done there is super impressive, and that would be interesting, as I believe Jonathan Franklin left Vandy to go to Penn State. So that would be quite interesting. But
I just don't know if Penn State's gonna grab somebody from the Big Ten either.
Well, if you can, you do it. That's what I say.
Yeah, that's true.
You got somebody who is, familiar with the culture, somebody who knows about that kind of, bully style of football that they play up there.
You can't just come in and you can, but it's hard for coaches to come in and make that transition. If you're not,
I would say it's kind of something like, going into the SEC when you're not familiar with what the SEC is all about. So I think, you got some names there, Steve. I like it. Brett Bielema, I think, would be a super fit because you know what he's about. He's about defense. He's about controlling lines of scrimmage. He's about pounding the rock and playing off of that with solid quarterback play. So these are all things, for the most part, Penn State has been doing for more than a decade, except for the fact that they can't get the quarterback position right. So I think Brett Bielema would be a great fit there. It would. It could be neat. It could be neat. Are there any names here, guys, that maybe you guys have considered that haven't been mentioned so far, that we haven't mentioned here tonight?
Deion Sanders.
Oh, yo! So
if the money's right, hey.
I hadn't even thought that would be insane. And if Deion,
I wanted him to go to Florida. I wanted him to go back to Florida State.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I think they messed up a few years ago when they could have had him.
Yeah.
They could have had him, but that's how he ended up at Jackson State. They didn't do the right thing. But Deion at Penn State,
a lot of money.
I hate that I'm saying he would win a national championship at Penn State. It would be a lot easier getting stars to go to Penn State than getting them to go to Colorado.
Oh yeah.
would be crazy. You know what? I was going to say, I thought about you, Steve, but I didn't.
You heard it first.
Yo, that would be crazy, Ryan.
That would be. I was just thinking about like coaches who could, fill that void, who have built programs, who a company or not a company, a university would potentially take a risk on if the opportunity was there. I think
that would be
now
insane.
he probably has no ties to Pennsylvania,
right?
But he's a ball coach.
Well, he'd be back in the East, and he would be closer to, recruiting the areas that he, could, maybe not Texas. He's a little closer to Texas and Colorado, but he'd get right down easily down to Florida, South Carolina, like we said, the DMV, Ohio, all these talent-rich areas right around there.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I have no idea what their setup is at Colorado still. I mean, they probably they're not ready to give him up. And I feel like they owe him.
Look, if Penn State's willing to buy him out, they don't have to be ready, right?
Nah, that's true.
I'm just saying. Steve, I'm with you. Dion to Tallahassee. That's the one that needs to happen.
Yes.
Florida State blew that. I guess they could theoretically make it right with enough money, but I think, and I'm not saying it would happen, Steve, but if he went to Penn State, they would win a national championship. I believe that wholeheartedly. No, Dabo's not a cultural fit for Penn State. I can't see it. Nah, he'll fit much better in the SEC. He's not going to fit in the Northeast. You crazy? That old country boy from the South? He's not doing no.
Yeah.
Nah. It's just like, it's like me trying to go, I mean, obviously I live in Florida, but you know what I'm saying? Like culturally, I'm not that guy. That's like me trying to coach at Ole Miss or something like that. I wouldn't be a fit. They'd be like, who is this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like certain things are really, the regional fit has to matter. So yeah, I can't see it. That would be crazy though. That would be crazy. Man, that was a good one. But yeah, James Franklin is out as head coach of Penn State.
Hate to see it. Wish him the best.
Yeah. I mean, but I don't hate to see it. You're making a whole lot of money in results-oriented business. Get the damn job done.
You're right.
Yeah. And I get what you're saying, Ryan. And two, obviously, you can look at this from a perspective that I never can, right? Obviously, you can look at this from the player's perspective, having relationships with coaches and knowing how that affects teams and players and chemistry. And then when you got new coaches coming in, they want to bring their scheme and they want to bring the guys who fit their scheme. So
everything is new, top to bottom, from training staff sometimes to the chefs to everything. But as a player who's in the program, now transfer portal probably adds a little tweak to that. There's a level of excitement of like, all right, well, shoot, this next year is kind of canned. You a young dude. Let me see if I can get in, make some plays, but somebody new coming in. And if I'm that borderline guy who felt like I didn't make it with this last regime, I'm getting a fresh start. It's a new playing field for everybody who comes in. So that's the perspective I see too.
Yeah, I didn't think about it. So as a player, Ryan,
transfer,
Yeah. So as a player now, you think this could actually help Penn State on the field? Because now everybody's going to want to get out there and put good tape out in the event that they have to transfer. So everybody's going to be like theoretically playing their hardest, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of ways. There's a lot of ways that you can spin some things. So like, this is a similar situation to like what happened to me at Illinois. So we went 6-0. Zook was there. We're rolling. They're talking Outback Bowl, and then we lose 6 straight, but we make it to the playoffs. Now Zook gets fired towards the end of the season, but we're all still trying to rally together. Like, hey, we can still finish this out. We still made it to a bowl game. Yeah, we didn't win Big Ten championship, all that stuff, but like, we can still finish this on a high, So we kind of playing as a unit. And then when the new coach comes in, guys really couldn't leave like they wanted to leave just because it's a different era of football. Yeah. But there is that, hey, let's kind of finish strong. Let's kind of finish what we started, especially if you love your coach. And most players, I feel like when you're going to war, there's this passion of we got. Our coach is with us. The coach has been with us since week 1, talking to us in camp about what the season gonna be like. All that stuff. So I feel like I like to think that aspect in team sports and college football is still there, despite the money and the transfer portal and all that kind of stuff. So Penn State is going to look like a different team without a head coach, but guys are still going to be trying to play and make plays.
Okay. Carlos, last thoughts on this before we open up the phone lines on this topic.
Yeah, man. Well, it could definitely be a good thing or a bad thing for Penn State. They can, win out and be 9-3, which is very tough because they got Ohio State, they got Indiana.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
On the road to Iowa, so definitely. Yeah, so right
Yeah.
now Penn State's fighting for bowl eligibility because right now they only have 3 wins. So they're fighting to get 3 more wins.
Great point.
And they got to go on the road to Iowa, Ohio State, and Indiana. Those 3 are going to be tough games. So now the other 3 are Michigan State, Nebraska, and Rutgers. So it's definitely going to
Nebraska's playing good ball too.
They are,
5-1, I believe.
Yeah, 5-1, ranked 25 in the country.
There you go.
Yeah, they're looking good right now. Hey man, I don't know if Penn State's gonna make a bowl game, but if they can rally the troops, then hey, I would love to see it for Penn State. But I guess we'll see what happens.
I got you. Quick side note: you mentioned they got to go on the road to Iowa. Was anybody besides me blown away to see Iowa smack around Wisconsin 37-0?
Oh.
What? I mean, and we'll talk about that in the next topic. But like, what world are we freaking living in?
Hey, Wisconsin is not good right now. They're like
Luke Fickell's getting fired, bro.
Luke Fickell,
he's the next one. He's done.
Yeah, Wisconsin, they are not good right now, especially in a rivalry game too between Iowa and Wisconsin. Trophy game. In a trophy game, yeah, that's ridiculous. 37-0. Yeah, that's bad.
Yeah, I think Wisconsin knew right away they had the wrong hire because we know what Wisconsin's history and their calling card is. When they hired Luke Fickell to come on and coach the Badgers from Cincinnati, right? And he was a very good coach at Cincinnati. He took that team to the 14 playoff, and they held it. They lost to Alabama 24-6. So they held on as long as they could. They just couldn't get enough offensive production, but the defense played well. So anyway, I say that to say they knew they made the wrong hire with Luke Fickell at Wisconsin because he went there and he hired Phil Longo to be the offensive coordinator from North Carolina, running a damn air raid. Wisconsin running an air raid? Are you sick? Like, what are you doing?
Nah.
What are you doing? Like, come on, man. They knew right away, like, damn, we blew it. We messed this up. Like, I don't know what they were thinking. See, where they messed up, and I'm sorry, I'm digressing a second because you mentioned Wisconsin, is that they should have hired Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator, who had them with a top 10 defense in the nation for like 6 straight years. They should have hired him, right? And then you know what he would have done? He would have continued to play elite defense, run the football, play action off of the run. This stuff is not that hard. I don't know what you thought you were doing because, like, when you interviewed Luke Fickell, you didn't ask him, okay, you're a defensive guy. What are your thoughts on, what type of offensive scheme you're going to run? Who are some of your thoughts for OC? Like, and then he says, well, I'm looking to do this and do what? Bro, this is Wisconsin. We don't do that here, but it is what it is. All right, let's go ahead. I'm sorry, I went off on that little diatribe when you mentioned Wisconsin. But let's go ahead, open up the phone lines. Let's take 2 quick calls, 904-219-8264, 904-219-8264. Go ahead, give us a call. We want to hear from you. James Franklin, how shocked were you? What's next? Let's go. Yeah, crazy stuff in the world of college football, man. But yeah, Luke Fickell is definitely next, y'all. He's definitely next. King of the chat, what's going on, my brother?
What up, fellas?
What's going on, man?
What's going on, Steve?
Not much, man. What up, Ryan? What up, Carlos?
What's
Yo, what's
going on,
up?
brother?
But hey, I don't have too much time. I'm heading into work now.
Okay.
Despite Twizzler and all his accusations of me when I call in, bro, Twizzler gotta chill. But my few thoughts on this is like I know we've been talking about this. I think we even talked about it last week.
Yep.
I think the writing was on the wall. Franklin was gone.
Mm-hmm.
The loss to Northwestern at home. That's the nail in the coffin.
Sure.
But where you're at right now, this comes down to that. It's not that Penn State can't get the money and figure things out, but there is context where it's like this is an expensive situation.
Yes.
I think it's like $48 million buyout for Franklin. And then let's say the coordinators leave, that's probably another 10 to 12 million buyouts. and then you need to process, depending on which direction you go, you're going to probably have to buy out a coach from a current contract and then restructure a full new contract once you have him on board.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hiring of his coordinators. So this is an expensive endeavor. And then if you're Penn State, where do we go from here? Okay, we saw a guy that had us at 10 wins, despite this current season. Franklin had them at a 10-win a season relevant. They just went to the playoffs, like you said, Bruce. Like, they're a typical top 10 program. They're probably a top tier relevant program right now. So it's like, what direction do you go from here? So it's like, do you buy out a big name and try to lure him in where it's going to be more costly, or do you go to a tier 3 or 4 Division I program and hire a guy that you have high hopes for? For instance, like some of the names I was bringing up, like a Clark Lee. Matt Rule is established, Brett Bielema are established, and it's no discredit to the program these guys are at. But Nebraska is not what they used to be.
Right.
Illinois is somewhere. If you're Penn State knocking, the Illinois coach is going to listen. Where most people would say, and it's no disrespect to Illinois, but it's like this would be an upgrade job for a coaching, for an individual coach. So I could see something like that happen. Do you try to go get a Lincoln Riley? Do you go try and get somebody that? I would agree. So to me, if I'm Penn State, I would actually look at Notre Dame. Like, I understand why they would want to interview Marcus Freeman. Marcus probably is not going to entertain.
Mm-hmm.
If anything, his agent's going to get on the phone and leverage more of an extension or more money for him to stay at Notre Dame. But
that's his job.
Having said that, what's that?
I said that's his job.
Oh, he's born to be a Catholic Notre Dame head coach.
No. I meant that's the agent's job.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, you leverage your guy for sure. But having said that, if you can't get someone like a Lincoln Riley, a Marcus Freeman, a guy that's already at a big name school with a big buku contract, you look at Illinois, you look at Vanderbilt, you look at Nebraska, where it's like, hey, these guys are like, they're not old guys. They could be here for another 10 years or more, and maybe they would have the time to establish. And let's be honest, like, Penn State's a culture type program. Like, you have to recruit. There's a lot of tradition there. So it's like, who's going to buy into this culture and be here for 10 plus years? We can do this. Because Franklin was there for what? He was probably there
12.
for over 10 years. 12 years. Thank you. And it's like, he bought into the program. He did everything you needed to get you relevant. It's very similar to the Brian Kelly Notre Dame situation.
Right.
So if I'm Penn State, I take the Notre Dame mold where it's like, maybe we can't hire within, but you hire a young guy that's got a lot of promise, has some experience, has been in these locker rooms and played with. That's why I think Clark Lee is such an appealing name. Clark Lee's played in the SEC. He's been in those locker rooms. He's a hell of a recruiter. He's young. You know, he's a defensive-oriented guy. That's kind of what Penn State, that's like part of their pedigree. You know, same thing with a Bielema, a Matt Rule. Those are kind of names. And honestly, I like that you brought up, I can't remember his name, the dude from Syracuse would be a good idea.
Fran Brown.
A young, vibrant guy that can go in and talk to players. Because recruiting at Penn State, that's why I'm like, I'm not saying Deion couldn't be successful at Penn State, but I don't know if it's going to be, I don't know if he's going to, what he's done at Colorado is like a culture shock. And he's made it appealing and flashy and entertaining, and that's good. But is he going to be the recruiter that Penn State needs? Because you have to recruit at a place like that.
Why not?
I haven't seen it at Colorado. Like, he can bring in transfers, but I haven't seen him sustain something, because Penn State's a culture building program, and that comes with recruiting. Part of that culture is you have to recruit.
Well, I think there's a lot of talent in that area, and Deion could get up and down that Eastern Seaboard. It's not nearly as far as trying to get a guy from Florida to go to Colorado versus a guy from Florida to take a 2.5-hour flight to Happy Valley. You know what I mean?
I agree with you. But having said this, do I see someone like Deion at Florida State recruiting
Of
and
course.
thriving. Yeah.
Well, he's
I don't
from
even think
Florida,
that's
so
the
that helps
same.
even more, and he's alum.
Exactly.
I just thought of a
At
name.
Penn State, what's that?
I just thought of a name real quick. Might sound crazy.
Restaurant.
Lane Kiffin.
Hmm.
Man, do you leave Ole Miss?
I would leave Ole Miss for Penn State, but you know,
I would too.
I detest the SEC, so I'm not fair. I'm not the guy to ask
right.
about that. I
Well, I
think Lane is hoping that the Florida job opens up and he can make a jump to that.
I was just going to say that. This goes to Lane Kiffin similarly how I look at Dion. I think Lane wants to stay in the South.
Yeah, I think so
he
too.
just stay in that area. Like, do I think he is going to blend into a place like Penn State? It's just different there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different Midwest mentality. It's not to say they can't do it, but I think what kind of vibe with the culture, like what's the personality and the culture of the program? How do they blend together? And it's not to say that guys like Dion and Lane can't do it, but I see someone like a Matt Rule, Clark Lee, a Brett Bielema. I think they're fit with a Penn State. Similarly, like you said, with Lane Kiffin going to Florida makes sense. Dion going to Florida State makes total sense. I think it's hard to articulate exactly what I'm trying to say.
I totally get it.
I get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where it's like Penn State's that old school. It's just different.
It
I don't
is.
think they want flashy coaches like a Dion or a Lane. They want a guy that we can count on him for 10 years. This is how the structure is going to be. I think that's kind of how they are. But it's going to be interesting to see, and this is going to set a whole trickle-down effect. I think the Auburn job's going to become open. Florida State's going to come open. Wisconsin's going to come open. We already see Virginia Tech, UCLA, Oklahoma State, Arkansas. Those jobs are open. So this is going to be like a Wild West off season for college football with coaching. You're going to see a lot of extensions. You're going to see a lot of agents on the phone lobbying for more money for the guys to stay. It's going to be crazy.
Yes, sir. Listen, thanks for the call, Steve. I appreciate you. We're going to leave it right there, man. Thank you.
Sir. Y'all stay blessed.
You too, man.
All right, you too.
Good call there from the king of the chat. Yeah, I guess he said it all. We'll wait another few seconds, see if we get another call on this. But go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, yeah, he said it all. He touched it on. Good stuff.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be exciting to see who ends up with this job, and to that point, who's going to get these other jobs. You know,
right.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. All right, let's go ahead and let's talk about let's talk about it. Ooh. Week 7 had some seriously huge games. Ryan, you and I talked about this last week. Carlos wasn't there for that one, but just had some really big games, and definitely saw some. It caused some major movement. Obviously, got the guy we just finished talking about fired, and there's a lot going on here. So let's get right to it. First, Ryan, I'm gonna start with you this time. What do you think was the most entertaining game of the weekend for you?
Entertaining.
Yeah.
A lot of games are entertaining. I mean, Illinois lost. That was entertaining. Like, I hate seeing that type of stuff, but I was watching, I could see the difference. You could see Ohio State came out better. I'm watching players play. Their defensive backs really just outplayed our receivers. They were more physical, putting their hands on them. So, that kind of stuff looked good. Bama, Missouri was exciting too. Missouri came out strong, and I was like, all right, like, we come on, let's see how Bama responds, and they played well. It's a tight game, but that was exciting. Obviously, Oregon, Indiana, great one.
That was the one for me.
Indiana is really good, and it's crazy to accept that. You know what? Indiana's a good football team, and I am excited to see how they play once they make it to the playoffs. If they continue at how they're at the way that they're rolling, they'll make the playoffs. I'll be interested to see where everything fits and how they act when they're in that environment. But
Mhm.
they are a complete team, and they got a coach
Yes,
who lets them play their game.
Mhm.
And I think you want that. Easy
I
to
thought they
recruit
were
in
good.
Bloomington now. They
Yeah.
I know their recruiting is they can win on some recruiting now.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
thought they would take a step back this year, just based on they lost talent, they lost their starting quarterback. They weren't going to sneak up on anyone this year. They had a tougher schedule this year, but they're showing like, hey, we're for real.
For real,
So yeah,
for real.
for sure.
Yeah.
Carlos, what were some of the games that you really enjoyed this past weekend, and kind of, man, like a lot went on, man. Where are you with week 7?
Indeed. Yeah, so like what Ryan said, a lot of entertaining games. There's a bunch of entertaining games, like the Indiana Oregon game. That was very interesting.
That was
Bama Mizzou, how that one went down the wire, and I think Mizzou had a game-winning drive, could have won the game, but an interception late by Bo Perbula ended the game, and Alabama won that one. Probably Georgia Auburn, Gunnar Stockton, he scored that late touchdown to clinch it for Georgia. Probably South Carolina LSU. I don't know, because I didn't watch that game, but the game seemed close, 20-10. So it seemed like a defensive game in that game. But yeah, I feel like those games, probably Indiana, Oregon, and what else? Bama, Mizzou, probably the most entertaining.
Florida
No
State
doubt,
losing
no
to
doubt.
Pittsburgh too. That was
Crazy.
that was crazy too.
Yeah. Shout out to Coach T in the chat. What up, Coach T? Good to see you, my brother. How you doing, man? Why have I not heard anyone talk about my Irish and their drubbing NC State and their offense 36? No, I'm just kidding. That was obviously
That was gonna happen.
right. I enjoyed that being a Notre Dame fan, but no, you guys were both 100% on point when you talked about. I think the number one game of the weekend had to be Indiana showing that they're for real, going out to Autzen and beating Oregon on their own field, man. That was really impressive. Yeah. And not just offensive, but defensively.
Too.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm like, these guys are really, really legit, And that's shout out to Coach Signetti. Google me, I win, right? And he's proven that he's not just a loudmouth. Like, he has built this program, and that's why I think, briefly going back to the previous topic, I think if you're him, you don't leave for Penn State. You're at a program where, this level of winning is not expected of you. So it's all, what do you call this? Icing on the cake, right? If you go to Penn State, they're going to expect you to bring a national championship. So stay where you are, keep getting your money, keep building this program, and who knows? And look, with a 12-team playoff now, depending on how stuff shakes out, we've seen anything can happen,
Anything can happen.
And I know obviously I'm biased here, but bringing up Notre Dame last year, nobody expected them to make that run into the championship game. Anything can happen if you get the right matchups and if you get hot.
That's it.
I mean, you know better than anybody, Ryan.
That's
you get hot, you get that emotion flowing, and you start executing, making plays, like you say.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
Yeah, man. Now, let me tell you this, Ryan. Watching on Big Noon Kickoff last week, Ohio State and Illinois, right? So Ohio State wins the game 34-16. A couple of things. Illinois' offense is better than that score dictates, right?
Absolutely.
Is that Ohio State is clearly the best team in the country. Like,
their defense is strong.
Their defense is crazy. Not just
the ball, straps our receivers.
Yeah.
We got a few things here and there, but we couldn't get anything
right. And what Matt Patricia is doing by having not just these athletes, but then bringing NFL schemes.
Yeah.
These college quarterbacks are having a lot of problems dealing with that, and it makes sense. But I say all that to say, Illinois' defense is really good too. Like, they hung in there for almost that whole game. Ohio State didn't really break it open until like midway through the fourth quarter. Right. And it's one of those things. And as a Ravens fan, I can tell you this, not this year, but in the past, you can have an elite defense that can hold. But if you don't get a little help from the offense, eventually you're going to crack. And you can only hold but so long, especially in the era of modern football, which is designed not to allow defenses to dominate the way they once did. It's just the way the game is now. So Illinois hung in there as long as they could. They just couldn't get enough going on offense. So you don't want to talk about moral victories, right? Who was it? I think it was Vince Lombardi said, show me a good loser and I'll show you a loser. You know what I mean? So,
Right.
and I get it, but I also think like in life, there's like different levels to things. And I think there are some losses that are worse than others, and I don't look at this Illinois loss as being terrible, as ridiculous as that sounds. You kind of get what I'm saying?
I agree. Now, they scored 2 more touchdowns and we get a field goal. That will be like, all right.
Right.
We only put 3 points on. We only, but they, like you said, we were in there. Like defense was, despite the offense not doing what they did, defense was doing what they did to give our offense still some opportunities to make plays. But we just couldn't get anything rolling. Again, their defense played really, really well, aggressive, and that's hard. That's hard to stop.
So I know I kind of asked about the entertaining games, but I'm going to say this real quick. I wanted to bring this up, and I know King of the Chat is going to love this one. Oklahoma and Texas. I expected Oklahoma to win this game, especially if Mateer was playing, especially the way Oklahoma's defense had been playing all year. They come in undefeated, number 6 in the nation, and they looked different. And I thought OU was back, and they turn around and get beat 23-6 by unranked Texas. I can't figure this out. Arch Manning, 21 of 27 on the day, only about 165, 167 yards. So he didn't light it up, but he took exactly what they gave him, and he played within it. And the biggest thing is no turnovers. Meanwhile, Mateer throws 3. The Texas run game and the Texas D-line dominated this matchup, which really surprised me because I thought Oklahoma's D-line was going to dominate this matchup. I think the week prior, I believe Oklahoma had a program record 10 sacks. Obviously, it wasn't against Texas, but you get the point. I thought they were different with Brent Venables calling the defense. Now getting back to that, and we know he's one of the best defensive minds in college football from his time at Clemson. But I was really surprised at the way Texas beat up Oklahoma in this game, got 3 picks off of Mateer. Great win for Texas. They needed that desperately. So I don't know. I guess was Oklahoma phony? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's college football for you. Texas still got their same players despite not being ranked anymore, right? Like, and those guys can still go to the meeting room, turn things around. Arch is now not as new as he was the week before, so all these things are working in their favor. I don't know what the rest of their season looks like and if it's even possible to still make a push to make it back up there. But you take down a number 6 ranked team, you're on the way. You're on your track.
For sure.
So, we'll see.
Yeah, no doubt. Carlos, do you have something there?
Great win for Texas. Their defense played really well. They allowed no touchdowns in that game, only 2 field goals against Oklahoma. Biggest win this season so far against Oklahoma. A well-needed win because, they lost to Florida in the swamp. Then, they beat Oklahoma, and now they're right back in it. So, so right now they're in a packed conference in the SEC. So, they're definitely going to need some help from the top if they're going to make it to an SEC championship game, great win for Texas, and hopefully they can, keep on winning.
No doubt. The other game that I saw really shocked me, and obviously I was watching this with a very close eye, being an Irish fan, was the primetime game, Michigan at USC, and watching USC really surprisingly out physical Michigan 31-13. Now, obviously they were able to really run the football effectively and for the most part hold Michigan, in check. And I'm trying to figure out how much of this is, obviously Michigan's got a true freshman quarterback in Bryce Underwood who shows flashes that he's going to be special, but it's not consistent yet. I don't know how much is that. I don't know how much is USC is a lot better. USC's defense under Danton Lynn is much improved. I don't know what to make of them because the week prior they got beat by Illinois, and then they go and they monkey stomp number 15 Michigan. So I don't know what we're gonna see. So, of course, I'm watching this game with a close eye because, Notre Dame has to play them this weekend on Saturday night, which, week 8 look ahead. I'll briefly touch on that. But I was really surprised to see USC play that well and look that good against Michigan. And USC is one of the best offensive teams in the nation. They got some really legitimate, as usual, skill guys on the outside. I know Ryan can appreciate that a great deal. Every time you look up, the wide receivers are just wide open. I'm like, what is Lincoln Riley scheming up?
Yeah.
Like his concepts are crazy that he's always got receivers basically running free. And then, of course, Jaden Maiava is he is playing really, really well. He's playing really well. And so, that score was shocking to me.
Yeah.
Didn't expect that at all, but it was very interesting to see how good USC looks.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was shocked.
Yeah.
And it was one of those, all right, this is one of those games Michigan needs to handle business so they can stay or maybe get bumped up a little bit where they're at. But
yeah, for sure.
Catching the L is not in the plans.
Yeah. And if you're Michigan, you're known on physicality and dominating the trenches.
Right.
And you let USC's third string running back run for $158. That's not supposed to happen.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He punched you in the mouth.
Yeah, most definitely. Very impressive win by USC. Bruce, Ryan. So did you know that USC has scored 30+ points in all their games? 30+.
Really?
I did not.
30+. Yeah.
Wow.
So against Missouri State, they scored 73. Georgia Southern 59. Purdue 33. Michigan State 45. Even in the loss to Illinois, they scored 32. And then now 31. Yes, USC's offense, they're no joke. Their offense is no joke. Very impressive win. Hopefully they can keep it up.
No, hopefully they cannot. No.
We will see. We will see.
We will see.
Yeah.
We will see. Because I don't want to hear it from Coach T for a whole year. I don't.
Oh yeah, Coach T was happy. Coach T was really happy about that.
I'm sure he was.
Yeah, he was.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. Notre Dame, I believe, is averaging 40 on the season. So, they've got a pretty high-powered offense themselves.
Yeah.
They're definitely getting busy. They've scored less than 35 once, I believe. So, they're doing their thing as well. And that was the opener against Miami. In Miami, they 27-24. So, yeah. And we'll talk about that. We got a great one coming up. But, yeah, man, Week 7 was fantastic. It's the only thing I don't like about college football. You get one of these weeks like Week 7 where you got all these great games. Then the next week is kind of like, you might get like 3 really good games, I'm like, come on, man, keep it coming.
Keep that energy rolling.
Yeah, for sure. But that is what that is, man. All right, cool. Let's open up the phone lines. Take a call or two. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Love to hear from you. What were your thoughts on a huge Week 7 in college football? Like we talked about, we had some great games. We saw some amazing stuff. We literally saw some history in terms of Indiana and what they were able to do. They've never had a win like that on the road in program history. So shouts to Coach Cignetti and Iowa and Indiana, excuse me. But you know what? Now that I'm thinking about it, and let me ask you about this, Ryan, while we wait to see if we get any calls. Just as difficult, I would think, as handling adversity is handling success.
Absolutely.
If you're Coach Cignetti and now you're coming off of, like we talked about, a program-defining win, how do you handle that? How do you keep the guys grounded? Obviously, they're not professionals. These are young kids. How do you keep them grounded and say, hey, great win. We did what we set out to do. We still got half the season left to move towards accomplishing our goals.
Yeah. Well, I think their whole pitch has been, we're confident that we're going to win and beat everybody, but everyone sees us as the underdog. So they kind of have this chip on their shoulder. So I think the speech this week will be, hey, congratulations on the great win, but who's surprised? And everyone's going to be like, nobody. So let's keep doing what we're doing. Let's lock in this week. And now they're talking about this week. They're not talking about this win that they just had. So I think that's probably the safest way for them to go about it. But what's different now is that target on their back is getting bigger. People know who they are. People know that, hey, you know, these guys are for real, which means these other teams are going to start preparing that much better. And Indiana's going to have to stay on their P's and Q's because if not, they can be the next big upset. And who knows what happens.
Gotcha. Coach T, what's going on, man?
What up, Bruce?
What's going on, brother?
Oh,
what up to the GOAT, Ryan Langford?
How you doing?
Yes.
What up to the man, the $200 million man, Mr. Carlos?
Hey, Tony, what's up, man?
Be ready, stay ready.
Stay ready. That's right.
I want to thank you, Bruce, for letting Carlos on and let him, do what he's passionate about doing, which is talking sports.
Absolutely.
I know on our show we don't get to he doesn't get to do it much often, and we're talking to young guests who are not very knowledgeable in sports, except for a couple.
Right.
So it was great to get him on your platform where he's talking to two guys that are very knowledgeable in football, just like him, to help him, break out and become a star like he is.
No doubt. Yes, indeed.
Yes, sir.
So I got a lot of love for you, Bruce, for that, man. I appreciate you letting him on.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
But week 7. I know we're talking about week 7. All I'm gonna say is Ohio State is looking like they trying to repeat again.
Yeah, sure.
But what y'all think about? I saw a post earlier today. They're saying that Indiana's looking like a national championship team. What are y'all thoughts on that?
I think they
got potential.
Yeah, for sure.
They definitely got potential.
Yeah, definitely contenders, most definitely.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And again, the biggest key, Coach T, is how the seeding shakes out when it comes down to it, right? Because think about it, this is a team, Indiana, that could end up being the number 1 overall seed if they mess around and win the Big Ten championship, which they have shown they might just be able to do. So I mean, they will probably be in that game. I don't think they play Ohio State, do they? I don't think they do.
Not for the regular season. No.
There you go. So they could avoid Ohio State all the way up until the Big Ten championship game. Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
So they could go in with a 1 or 2 seed overall. Winning a national championship, obviously that's a tough one, but they're showing that they can play with anyone, clearly.
Yeah, they've been winning some tough games.
Yes, sir.
And I think Texas, if they keep that strategy, not letting Arch Manning throw more than 30 passes a game, I think they'll be successful because that defense is national championship defense.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to put stock on it against an injured OU's quarterback played hurt. So I'm not going to put stock in that, but that was still a dominant win. But I think that defense, like you know, Bruce, defense travels.
Yes, it does.
Defense will win you a lot of games. So they're going to be dangerous in the playoffs.
Yep.
But I know we got to talk about this, Bruce.
It's coming, man.
Yeah.
You call back for the last topic, man. We'll get there. I've been trying to avoid it with you, but I can't run from it much longer.
Bro, he be trolling me about this game all season.
I know, man.
Ryan,
but listen,
Ryan, every chance we get off the show, he always throws Notre. He always say go Irish because he knows it boils my blood. When he knows I'm watching the show, he always say go Irish.
Hey, man.
Go Irish.
I love the Irish, man. What can I say, man?
No, you just love trolling me.
No, I love the Irish, man. I'm 3% Irish, man. Sure.
Every show, we could be talking basketball. He'd be like, go Irish.
Somehow they get in there, right?
Yeah, whatever, Bruce.
No doubt, man. We're gonna get to that in the weekend.
But my biggest concern about my Trojans is I can't pronounce our own quarterback's name, but he makes too many errant throws.
Well, really, he only made one errant throw against Michigan. Like, the kid's good, man, and obviously we know he's well coached at the quarterback position, so that's a non-starter. Like,
no, he threw 2 interceptions.
I thought it was only one. Okay, my bad.
No, he threw 2.
Okay.
The one when he scrambled was.
That's the one I was thinking about.
Yeah, that's the one. That's a young quarterback mistake because all he had to do was run it, and he would have got the first.
Or he could, if he was going to throw it, just throw it out of bounds. But he tried to make something happen.
But we did. But the defense looked solid. I mean, but at the end of the day, like Steve said in the chat, that was against an 18-year-old quarterback, and those decisions, your quarterback is not going to make those poor decisions.
I hope not.
And if they do make the playoff, because there's no guarantee USC will.
Right.
I'm just being non-biased.
Right. Same with us. There's
no guarantee that USC will make the playoff, but if they do, they're gonna be playing. Can he make those throws against the Texas defense? Can he make those throws against Ohio State defense?
Right.
Can he make those throws against the Indiana defense?
Right.
I mean, Illinois' defense kind of, I ain't gonna say expose them, but they kind of showed that he still needs a lot of growth. So maybe one more year of college football might work for him.
Right.
But being down, I know this is not all about USC. But
go ahead, man.
Being down your top 2 running backs, and then you get your third string, and he show up like that.
That was impressive, Coach T.
That was impressive, and that's what helped the offense to settle in.
Yeah, agreed.
Because we all know a good running game get your offense going, especially with a young quarterback.
Sure. And you know what though, real talk, Coach T, like I give you crap about USC and more specifically Lincoln Riley.
As you
not really building a culture of toughness, right? But to really play against a team like Michigan that's built the way they are, and to play Big Ten bully ball against them. Because think about it, USC hasn't been an elite physical team really since Pete Carroll, right? But to play Big Ten bully ball and physically bully Michigan the way they did, that was impressive. I got to give credit, man.
Yeah, I was surprised.
Yeah, and that
I was worried about that game because I was like, I hope we don't overlook Michigan looking at because I thought they were gonna. It was another trap game. Like,
okay,
I looked at it as a trap game because you're going to get some ranked opponent. You're at home, and I was afraid that they were gonna. And they're young, very young team. I thought they were gonna overlook them. Paying more attention to Notre Dame.
Right.
And they didn't. They came in there and handled business.
Yeah, no. That shows me they were well coached.
Yeah, he's a very good offensive coach.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, well coached in terms of preparation for that game, focusing on that game, doing what they needed to do to have success in that game and not looking ahead to Notre Dame. The same way Notre Dame had to be prepared, ready for NC State, focus on that game, pay attention to that game, execute, win that game, then turn the page to a dynamic, explosive offensive opponent in USC. So both teams did what they needed to do, and now, like you said, game of the week. So
yeah, I was going to get on get to Notre Dame. That was a dominant win from start to finish.
I wouldn't say that.
Like
they didn't. The same way you're critical of your guys, I'm critical of mine, and it wasn't. The first half was really kind of clunky, and they didn't, start pulling away until about halfway through the third quarter. They definitely got stuff to clean up.
They'll be up for USC. Don't worry.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
there'll be a
For sure.
what was I going to but what was I going to say? One of the questions I have, especially I want to start with Mr. Ryan Langford. Me and Carlos talked about this on a couple of days ago.
Mm-hmm.
The SEC looks like they're bouncing back, and don't be an SEC hater, Bruce.
Oh, I hate them. I do.
Don't be an SEC
with
hater.
a passion. But go ahead.
I know, that's why I directed this question to Ryan.
Right.
Because Ryan gonna be non-biased about the SEC. The SEC look like they're back to getting back. They're not where they were, in the 2010s.
Mm-hmm.
But they're getting there. Like me and Carlos, we predict at least 6 SEC teams in the playoffs. Do you agree or disagree with that?
6. What's the top? I mean, where are we at now? How many would be in there? I think historically SEC is one of the elite conferences, right? I'm from the South.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up watching SEC, playing on CBS, all that kind of stuff. So I always think the SEC is going to have a strong caliber of football and a strong brand of football. Now, this year with 6 teams in there, I don't know. I got to see. Let me look at the top 25 where they at now.
Well, they've got 6 in the top 12 right now.
They got 6 in right now.
Mm-hmm. But we know.
We all know the SEC champion is a lock.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
The champion and the runner-up.
And the runner-up.
I think they'll get at least 3. I don't know about 6.
3.
They'll get 3. Because here's the thing, Coach T. All these teams got to play each other. So they're going to start racking up the losses, right?
6 is hard.
Yeah. How many 2-loss teams can you have in there? Come on, man.
You know how they are about the SEC.
I know. That's why I can't stand them. I know.
They got yeah. I know. Oh, my bad. Got to mute it.
Yeah, it's
but
SEC
they're going to
football.
be there. I think Vanderbilt's going to get in.
No, they're like 17 right now. Nah.
I think LSU getting in there. Texas is going to definitely be in there.
Mm.
Wow.
Texas be in?
Yeah, Texas is going to get in there. They're going to put Arch Manning in the playoffs. Come on now.
They already got 2 losses though, and I don't see him getting through the rest of the way without another one.
They probably got to win out and need other teams to.
Yeah, they're not going to beat A&M to finish the season. I don't know. I don't see it.
That's one other team that is going to be in there.
Yeah.
All right.
Nah, those teams they're gonna eat each other up. So I'm not worried about that.
I love you too, Steve, but come on, man.
I was about to throw that up there. Yeah. But Coach Steve, you got anything else, man? We about to move on to the next topic.
Oh yeah, continue taking care of my boy.
Of course.
Thank you for letting him shine.
Of course.
Ryan, continue being the GOAT and keep Bruce non-biased.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you.
And then hopefully Carlos love what he's doing on Tuesdays and become a regular.
No doubt. I appreciate you. Thanks, Coach Steve.
All right.
Appreciate the call, brother.
Thanks, man.
One.
Coach Steve with the good call. If you haven't already, I'll just remind you again, make sure after this show, you finish watching this, go over to the Be Ready Sports Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, hype a video, show that love to Carlos and Coach T. They're over there. They're working with the youth, and they're giving the young men and women an opportunity to shine. And hopefully one day we'll be talking about them. So yeah, make sure you do that. All right, let's go to next topic, and this is something we do every week. And I think this is just going to be the regular. Well, the last 2 are going to be the regulars to look ahead, but we'll go to the Associated Press Top 25, which we kind of started getting into at the tail end of the call there with Coach T. So let me see if I can share this. All right, let's do this. Second, share screen. College football rankings. Share. All right, there we go, guys. Okay, so the one we're going to be focusing on here is going to be we're going to focus on the AP top 25. So let's go there. All right, let's start from, we want to start from the bottom or start from the top, guys? Let's start from the bottom. So,
Or bottom. That's fine.
yeah, we talked about Nebraska. Good football team, playing good ball. No objections there, right? Let's do it this way. Does anybody see any objections between 25 and 19?
No.
Okay. So USC was unranked coming into week 7, and they jump up to number 20 with the big win over Michigan that we just talked about. Michigan, I think, was number 15. So not sure that they could, not sure that they should be a little higher or not, but this is fair. And then obviously they're going to have Notre Dame this week. So, they're going to be what they're going to be depending on how that game shakes out. Let's see, moving up. Let's see, 19. All right. USF, very quietly, a very good football team. Their only loss was to Miami was at week 3. So they're doing what they can do to be the lone group of 5 representative in the playoff. So that should be very interesting. Waiting to see that one. No one's really talking about them, but we'll see if they're good enough to pull an upset once they get there. Who knows? They beat Florida State at Florida State, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
When, like in the past?
Which one? Wait,
USF?
USF?
In USF, right?
In the past, yeah. Not this year, I don't think.
I thought let's see. Let's take a look at this real quick. I thought they did.
I feel like it was last year.
Well, they beat Florida at Florida. Okay, my bad.
Florida. That was a big win, though.
Yeah, that was a huge win. Yeah. I mean, granted, Florida is not as good this year, but still, you don't expect USF to go into the swamp and beat them. That's not supposed to happen, right?
Right.
Okay. So, Vandy at number 17, they're 5-1, really good football team. Only loss coming to Alabama, no shame there. So Clark Lee has really got them guys playing. Not sure how the rest of the schedule shakes out, but we'll find out. Good point, Steve. Yep, the Florida that they beat dominated Texas. Great point. Thank you, Steve. Yeah. Steve says USF is too low. Well, they are too low, but if they're the highest ranked group of 5 team, they'll still get in, right? And that's the thing. Let's see, BYU, Mizzou. Another really good team. Their only loss to Alabama, right? So, again, no shame there. Oklahoma, only loss to Texas. Now, they were ranked number 6 coming into the weekend, get beat by an unranked Texas team. So, you see where the drop is, 8 spots to number 14. Not mad at that.
Yeah, me either.
And, of course, the Irish. Now, here's a question. I'm not going to speak on this because clearly I'm biased. Is Notre Dame, some people say they're ranked too high because they have the 2 losses. Do you guys feel like Notre Dame is ranked too high, being number 13 here? Is there an argument for them as the 13th best team in the nation with 2 losses?
I think one of those. So those teams that are 6-0, like BYU, all that stuff, but they're not really playing anybody worth carrying any weight, And Notre Dame, I don't know. They could be closer to Mizzou. I feel like they could be a little lower than 13.
Okay.
Probably.
Don't know exactly where, but.
So let me ask you this. Does it mean anything to you? And I know it's going to sound like I'm defending them, but I'm just playing devil's advocate here. Does it mean anything to you that the opener was at number 2 Miami? They lose by 3 on the road. So I say this to say the 2 losses they have are the 2 best losses in the country. And then undefeated Texas A&M, they lose by a point, like in a shootout. So kind of, I think that's
and they're probably
why
taking
Notre
that all
Dame
into
is
consideration.
right. I think that's why they're hanging in there, even with the 2 losses. They're the only 2-loss team ranked this high. But if we're also being 100% objective, you know that the committee wants to keep Notre Dame on the periphery because they know what a TV draw they are if they make the playoff. Yeah. We gotta keep it real about the money part of it too.
It's so crazy that they are though. Like everybody in the country watches them.
That's right. Whether you hate them or not. That's right.
It doesn't matter. Like they're getting watched.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think we're in agreement. I think we're all in agreement that even though the losses were quote unquote good losses, that they're ranked a little too high at 13. Is that fair? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, probably because I feel like Notre Dame's ranked that high because of the drama of what happened ahead of them. So probably they went up because of the drama of what happened ahead of them. So probably that's one of the reasons why they're ranked so high at 13.
That's true too.
Losses, so
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
Yeah, no, that's a good point as well, Steve. Steve says Notre Dame is ranked where they're at because of preseason ranking and 2 losses to 2 top 5 teams. Yeah, no question about it. I think Notre Dame was ranked number 6 to start the season. So even though they were 0-2 and dropped all the way down to like 22, I think the way they've and realistically, even with those losses, like Notre Dame doesn't have any games where they played poorly at all this year, right? They have games that they could have improved. They don't have any games they played badly. Like I said, they're averaging 40 a game here, you know?
Yeah.
The last 2 games they have, 7 or 8 takeaways and like 8 sacks. Like, now don't get me wrong, it wasn't world beater competition, right? But you know, it was Boise State followed by NC State. But the point is, they're balling. They're showing, you know, kind of what they could do. But anyway, this is not a Notre Dame show, so let's move on. Tennessee looks good. LSU looks good. This is where we get into the whole SEC thing, and this is one of the things that has always irked me about the way the SEC is ranked, the teams in the SEC. And I've said this for years, from the BCS era to the 14 playoff era and beyond. What happens is this. Don't get me wrong, there's very good football played in the SEC, but I feel like it was manipulated in that they always rank these teams highly so that when they beat each other, they don't take much of a hit in the rankings so they can stay around, get into the playoffs, and have a better opportunity to win a championship. I think if you go look, there was multiple years, even in the 14 playoff era, where there were 2 SEC teams. It's like, come on, man. Come on. Now, did those teams have to go out on the field and win it? Yes. But like, it always seemed to me like they kind of had an advantage there in the way they were dealt with in the polls. Your thoughts?
I always feel like those SEC schools and those teams were good football teams too. Like,
no question.
Let's not. Yes, there may be a SEC bias, but those SEC teams are some great football teams, and
yes, that's true.
Deserve to be in those places. And I'm glad that the playoff system has expanded because it did get a little tight, where it was like, okay, well, we know these SEC schools are going to historically have great
Alabama,
programs.
Georgia, Clemson every year. Like,
they're going to have great programs, and it's only 4 slots in there. So of course, there's going to be, by process of elimination and percentages. There's going to be a higher percentage that certain teams are going to be in place and other teams aren't.
Right.
That's why I love the playoff system now, because now you see, like at number 7, we got TCU. This is TCU would never have. I mean, not TCU. Texas Tech would never had an opportunity to make it to the big time dance. You know?
Sure.
Yeah.
And Carlos, let me say this, man. I love the fact that, to what Ryan said, with the playoff field expanding, you can. Like, when it was a 14 playoff, if you started the season number 15, it was real hard to get into that top 4.
You had to roll. You had to be undefeated.
Yeah.
And then one of the games that you were supposed to lose had to do something miraculous and then some.
Yeah. And so, you know, they said when they, you know, the people who were upset about the expansion were saying, oh, it's going to water down the best of regular season. No, it actually made it better.
Right.
And what I love is, you know, even pros don't go undefeated, right? So you can lose, but still have an opportunity to bounce back, recover, right? Because what is one of the greatest lessons that you learn? And Ryan, I know you know this well, so I'm going to skip you on this one. But from playing a sport like football is to fight through and overcome adversity. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't be eliminated from the opportunity if you lose one game. And that's what it used to be. So now you're seeing, okay, you can lose one, maybe even depending on the situation, two. But if you get in, you have the opportunity to get right, overcome the adversity, come together as a team, and win. Mm-hmm. What's better than that?
Nothing.
There you go. Yep. What are your thoughts on that, Carlos?
Yeah, definitely. Expanding the playoff, definitely very good, because, for example, in 2023 with the 14 playoff, my Seminoles were left out because, an undefeated ACC champion was left out. And obviously we all know what happened. Bama took that 4th spot. But, but definitely the 14 playoff, like, I feel like it was rigged because at the time when there was a 14 playoff, there was 5 power conferences, obviously the Big Ten, ACC, and including the Pac-12 at the time. The Pac-12 was still a thing at the time. So definitely it was rigged, definitely, because you would have 5 conference champions and only 4 slots. So definitely it was rigged from the start. But I'm glad that the playoff expanded. Conference champions are in as a lock, so that's something great. And then obviously you have the other at-large bids. So definitely good for college football.
Facts. Totally agree with you. Okay, so getting down to the rest of the way, some really good teams in this top 10. Like we mentioned, LSU, Georgia, Oregon. I want to see how Oregon bounces back from their first loss. Yeah, because that was a tough one. I don't think the score was necessarily I don't think the score was necessarily indicative of how Indiana beat them. I think Indiana beat them a little worse than that score looks, and I like it. Obviously, the Bama fan base is probably not satisfied with where they are right now. Obviously, being extremely spoiled and having won all these championships in recent years, but they look very good. Kalen DeBoer is showing the type of coach that he is. He's coached up Ty Simpson, has got him playing extremely well at the quarterback position, especially for a young cat. So, Alabama is kind of doing what Alabama does, and you got to be careful because they got the talent to play with anybody, and they're lurking. So, but again, good thing about the SEC is these guys are going to cannibalize each other. So we'll see how it all shakes out. Right. Ole Miss, undefeated so far, really good. Texas A&M, undefeated. Mike Elko doing a great job there in College Station, playing great defense. And now they've got Concepcion and Craver in the passing game. Those guys really carved up the Irish for 41 points. And their offense is humming. Their defense is great. They're doing it. Indiana, and we talked about them earlier. Now we're going to see how well they can handle success coming off the biggest win in program history as having beaten Oregon at Oregon. And again, Coach Signetti showing, hey, I win, Google me, right? So we'll see if the winning continues. I think they're going to beat the brakes and monkey stomp freaking Penn State. That's going to be ugly. So we'll see. They don't have to play Ohio State until if they would run into them in the Big Ten title game. So that's a great spot to be in if you're Indiana. You really have like one more theoretical, let's look at that schedule real quick. Theoretically, one more big game on the schedule. I think they play Michigan State this week. They should win that game. And then UCLA, who suddenly, is plucky.
He's a contender.
Yeah, for sure.
Suddenly got a little fight in him.
Yeah, they're not going to roll over. I think they're going to beat the brakes off Maryland on November 1st. They're going to stomp Penn State, Wisconsin, dumpster fire, and Purdue. Indiana's in a position they could legitimately go undefeated through the regular season and have some real momentum going into Indianapolis to play for the conference title against who likely is going to be the Ohio State Buckeyes. And man, I'll be excited to see that one. Yeah. And then obviously we got the U. We talked about them. Ryan, those are your guys from your youth. And, they're not the same U that we knew when we were younger, but that's an outstanding team, extremely physical on both sides of the line of scrimmage. Carson Beck is managing. He's not a superstar, but he's managing the team well. Who's that kid, number 10? He cooked up Notre Dame in the opener. I cannot remember his name. You remember his name, Carlos?
Malachi Tony. Yeah, so
Malachi
he's from
Tony,
South Florida. He actually played
Right.
at American Heritage. Yeah, homegrown kid, South Florida.
He
For
went
sure.
to American Heritage, you said?
American Heritage Plantation.
Yeah, I know. I played with a guy who went to American Heritage. It's a good school.
That school puts out some talent, man.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, I think Sony Michel played for American Heritage, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. I think he played for them.
I don't know.
But let me see. But yeah, so does anyone have any issues with any of these teams that are in the top 10?
I like where they're all sitting. Ole Miss, I got them on my radar just to kind of see how things work with them and see where they finish out. Because they're an exciting team too. I'd like to see them a chance in the playoffs to go if they could.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sony Michel did go to American Heritage. I thought
He
so.
did?
There you go. Mhm. Yeah. But yeah, well there you go, man. I think a pretty fair top 25. Obviously, like we mentioned, one of the big things is Notre Dame is a little high at 4-2. But we'll see, if they get the big win this week against USC, then they'll kind of earn wherever they end up. And obviously, if they lose with 3 losses, they're going to tumble pretty far, I think, because they would be the only 3-loss team in the top 25 if they even remain in the top 25. And if they don't, well, so huge game this weekend for the Irish. Yeah, but overall, I think a pretty decent AP top 25. I like it.
Yeah, pretty decent.
All right. So let's go ahead and we'll take this down. And oh man, this is the part I hate. Yeah, try to put it back. There we go. All right. Okay, so yeah, pretty good top 25. Let's take a call on this if anybody wants to call in and give your thoughts. 904-219-8264. 904-219-8264. Give us a call if you got anything to say about the AP top 25. I thought it was pretty fair overall. And as that's the thing, man, as the season progresses, we will continue to see changes in the rankings, teams going up, teams going down. And the beautiful thing is, the way it is now with the 12-team playoff, even if you lose a game or you lose 2, if you get back on your horse, there's probably going to be some chaos above you if you do what you have to do. Coach T, what's good, man?
I'll make this one brief so
Sure.
Steve can call in. He got a lot to say about the top 25.
Yeah.
The king of the chat. Shout out to Steve, the newest member of the TheFormatPodcast.
For sure.
Hey!
No doubt.
Only thing I got to say about Notre Dame is the only thing that's going to hurt them is their remaining schedule.
Yep.
After USC, the schedule gets a lot favorable.
Yeah.
So they have to beat the brakes off the Trojans to stay up there.
No, you're right.
It's a close. Even if they win a close game, I think they're going to fall. If someone else has a dominant win,
you might be right. It would just suck to
it's gonna
penalize them after a win, though. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying.
Ole Miss got penalized for a win. They undefeated and they dropped the spot.
Well, there you go. I think that Indiana win got a lot of people's attention, but you're right though.
Yeah, because everybody has a lot of stock in Oregon. They made a name for themselves. But all I can say is right now, Ohio State is clearly the best. Oh, you put my comment up here.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, sir.
Ohio State is clearly the best team in college football right now.
No question about it.
Yep.
They're clearly the best team in college football right now. Right now, I don't know who's going to beat them.
Agreed.
I don't know who's going to beat them. But Bruce, man, after you get through with this show, gargle some salt water or something, man, 'cause you're doing all these shows, man. You're taking one day off. You're losing your voice.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, brother. Thank you, man.
All right, I'm going to let Steve call in.
All right, brother. Appreciate the call.
All right.
All right, king of the chat. I don't know if you're trying to get a quick call. If you are, go ahead, and then we'll get to the final topic and let Ryan and the young fella get up out of here because I know it's a school night.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, you weren't gonna get through the show without one little kid joke, man.
Unfortunately. Unfortunately.
We
Hey,
all
man,
been there.
enjoy it. We've all been there. There you go.
We all been there. In the
King
real
of the
world,
chat was good,
the
man.
real world, the same way. Still got to wake up early and get to it.
Facts.
Yep.
King of the chat,
guys,
what's going on, man?
I was summoned, so I'm calling.
Oh.
But I mean, I don't put too much stock in the rankings as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
What are we? Week 6, week 7, week 6?
We're going into week 8.
We're going into week 8. Okay, so we have 7. Like honestly, this is when they should start ranking teams, and I still don't put that much stock in it. But it's like at least we have evidence.
Yeah.
I think you're right. Like Notre Dame, you could argue Notre Dame's a little too high.
Mm-hmm.
There's context to it, though. If they would have started the preseason rankings in the top 5 or 6, they probably wouldn't be at 13 with 2 losses.
Right.
And then there's context where it's like, once you start breaking down teams with 1 or 2 losses, it's like, well, who has the edge? And it's like, well, Notre Dame's played at Miami and Texas A&M. Both of them are undefeated top 5. So
correct.
Like, those look good. In turn, later down the road, you looking at teams' wins and losses, and you're like, well, Texas was preseason top 3, and that win for Ohio State doesn't look as good, but they just went on the road and beat Illinois pretty handily. That looks better now. So it's kind of hard to put too much stock in it, but as of right now, I don't think there's anything too out of bounds. I think South Florida's a little too low. I think their body of work plus their 1 loss, if we're going to credit a team like Notre Dame for losing to Miami and Texas A&M, South Florida has 1 loss to Miami, and they've beaten Florida, the same Florida that dominated Texas.
So let me push back on that a little bit, Steve. I think the difference is when you look at Notre Dame's 2 losses, right? They lost to number 2 and number 5 by a combined 4 points. When South Florida got beat by Miami, they got blown out of the stadium. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I think that would be the argument people would make. I hear what you're saying.
That's fair. I still think South Florida is a little too low.
I can agree with that.
And I'm not trying to jump on your bandwagon because I know this is your shtick, but I think we're seeing a lot of fluff and overinflation in the SEC right now.
Yep.
I don't think Tennessee is a top 10 team.
Nope.
Tennessee just struggled with Arkansas at home.
The same Arkansas Notre Dame put 56 on.
I was just going to say, Notre Dame walked into Arkansas and boat raced them,
and got their coach fired.
Goes into Tennessee and they only win by 3 or whatever it was. Like, I'm not that impressed with Tennessee. I'll be honest, I'm not that impressed with Ole Miss. Ole Miss struggled with Arkansas. Arkansas put 30-some points on Ole Miss. I think Ole Miss is benefiting right now where they haven't played the Alabamas, they haven't played Georgia yet, they haven't played Tennessee just yet. Like, I don't know their schedule off the top of my head.
I'm looking at it right now.
The later week.
Okay, so this week they have Georgia, right? Ole Miss has Georgia this week. That's a big one. We're going to talk about that in the look ahead. Following by Oklahoma, South Carolina, Citadel, Florida, Mississippi State. So they could have 3 losses here.
That's right. To your point, and then this is what I'd say. Like, I think we're seeing a lot of parity, quote unquote parity, in the SEC right now in these rankings. But when it comes down to it, we just saw Alabama pretty much handle Vanderbilt. It was a good game for 3 quarters, and then they kind of they just beat Georgia. Is Alabama now coming back into typical Alabama fashion? Is Georgia going to get back to being Georgia? Like, I still think those are 2 shaky teams to the standard of what we know of Alabama and Georgia. But do I trust what they've done so far more than Tennessee, more than Ole Miss, more than Texas A&M, more than Oklahoma and Texas? I would say yes. So I think you're seeing a lot of top-heavy rankings for the SEC, but give it 3-4 weeks. And I think you're going to see that dwindle down, where you're going to see some 3-loss SEC teams that might have been ranked in the top 10,
right,
coming down the future.
But you know what's going to be the problem now that you think about it, right? I don't know who it was that said. Was it Coach T said SEC might get 6 teams in?
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah.
And you know what? You might see a couple of 3-loss SEC teams get in there because the Big 10 and the Big 12 aren't going to have enough good teams to take up those spots.
I was just going to
And
say,
so they're going to default to the SEC like they always do.
Do I think it'll be 6? No. But I think you can see 3 SEC teams. You're going to see the 2
3 or
SEC
4, yeah.
teams. Yeah, you're going to see the 2 SEC championship teams in the playoffs.
Right.
And then you're going to see one more where it's like, well, they're right around 10, 11, 12 rankings. So they'll put a third one in. Now, if it comes down to it where it's like, hey, Oregon's got 2-3 losses, and there's another SEC team that has 2-3 losses, do I think they'll probably favor maybe an Ole Miss, maybe a Vanderbilt? I don't know. But I think based off history, it's like I could see why they'd be like, well, we're going to put a 4th SEC team in here. I think 6 is a little bit of a stretch because we're seeing so much. We're seeing so many of them ranked so high right now. But in 3-4 weeks, I think we're going to kind of have a better idea. Where like I don't think Texas has a chance. I think we saw Oklahoma, where it's like maybe we were a little high on Oklahoma because of a Michigan win that may have not been as impressive as we thought. Well, we can clearly see Michigan's offense is bad.
I don't know if it's just that, though. We saw Oklahoma, like their defense looking like Oklahoma again. John Mateer, before he got hurt, was like balling out of his mind. So I think we looked at Oklahoma like this is a really good team. And they still may be.
See, this is where it's like, can that be the truth? But then you have to look at the other side of the coin.
Right.
Like Oklahoma just lost to the same Texas team that got dominated by a Florida team that we can see now that isn't that good. So it's like this is kind of how you have to weigh things out. Where it's like I'm not ready to crown some of these guys based off of preseason rankings in like 3-4 weeks. It's like once we get to like week 6, 7, 8, then we can kind of see like can Oklahoma turn things back around and be really good again? Sure.
Well, Oklahoma's got a stretch to finish out the season. On the October 25th, it's Ole Miss, followed by Tennessee, followed by Alabama, followed by Mizzou, followed by LSU. That's a tough.
Would I be shocked to see Oklahoma lose 4 of those games? I would not one bit be shocked.
But I might not be shocked to see them win 4 of those games either and just lose to Alabama.
I think there's a better chance of them losing 3 or 4 of those than them winning 3 or 4 of those.
Okay.
Based off what we've seen, where I understand it's like, the last 4 or 5 weeks, it's like they beat Michigan and it was cool. It was 2 big programs, but like we just saw Michigan couldn't score 17 points against Southern Cal. That same Southern Cal gave up 30-some points to Illinois.
Right.
That same Illinois couldn't get 20 points against Ohio State. So we're seeing hierarchy here where it's like I can kind of discredit the Michigan win for Oklahoma where it wasn't that impressive. And to me, the Texas game sticks out. Maybe it's recency bias. And sure, injury with Mateer probably has a factor in this as well. But I just don't look at, as of right now, it's like I don't look at Tennessee, Oklahoma, Ole Miss, because Ole Miss has honestly not looked that great. They struggled with Arkansas. They barely – who they just play? Was it Washington State?
Washington State, yep.
And Washington State played them for 4 straight quarters, and you're like, what is going on? This is supposed to be a top 5 SEC team, where I think in the upcoming weeks you're going to see, like to me, what I took away from this week from Alabama just beat Georgia, and then they just beat a very good Vanderbilt team right now.
Right.
So it's like that was impressive to me. Where a lot of the SEC, where it's like, am I that impressed with Tennessee's home win over Arkansas by 3? No. Am I impressed with Ole Miss's 6-point, 10-point win against Washington State, and it took them 4 quarters? Not so much. After what we see, Texas's struggles, they just beat Oklahoma. Now, granted, it was an outstanding performance by Texas's defense and special teams, but I still don't look at Texas as like a playoff team because I'll be honest, Arch still didn't impress me. He made a couple throws.
No, I don't think you have to be impressed, but I think he did what he was supposed to do and he managed the game. And right now that's where he is and that's where he needs to be. Right. And that's managing the game and not losing it,
Credit to him for that matchup. That's what he needs to do. For that team right now, that's what he needs to do.
That's right.
Is that sustainable to make a playoff run? No.
Maybe, but not to win a playoff game. That's 2 different things. But we'll get to that. All right, Steve, man, I appreciate the call, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Yes, sir. I'll be in the chat.
All right, man.
All right.
King of the chat, boy. He always got some good stuff, man. His calls
Yes.
are good. All right. So we're gonna get to the final topic, y'all. And then we'll get the young fella out of here. You can go cuddle up with his binky, you know.
Oh my gosh.
I gotta give you a hard time, Carlos. All right, guys. We are gonna go to look ahead to week 8 and the games we're looking forward to. So I put here the 3 that I'm looking forward to seeing on the thumbnail. But matter of fact, I will go ahead and I'll bring up the schedule for week 8 so we can look at that again. Share screen.
Yeah, I got those same ones too.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, this is not a particularly great week. All right, there we go. All right, guys, and let me see if I can blow it up a little bit here. All right. Okay, so Thursday night, nothing special, nothing to see here, right? Wednesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Thursday. Okay, so Friday, we actually got Miami playing on Friday night versus Louisville. That's but if you want to see the U and see how they're looking and just get another look at them, this is an opportunity.
Bye too, I think they just had a bye last week.
Yeah, they didn't play last week, so I think it's fair to assume that Miami should win this game with relative ease. But again, we've seen it how many times? I was about to say transform. Ryan, you never really, you don't know. That's right. That's why they play the games, right?
That's right.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a fast track down there. 7 p.m. Miami, they're gonna be ready to roll.
Yes, they are. What we have number 25, 5-1 Nebraska at Minnesota. I think Minnesota's gonna put up a fight, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be. But you know what? This might be a sneaky good game right here. And LSU at Vandy.
I got that one circled. Vandy could win that.
I would love to see them upset LSU.
Vandy could win that.
Because I love to see Brian Kelly suffer since he tried to run away from the Irish like a thief in the night. So he's got to get his.
And the luck of the Irish still there.
Nah, he can't have that no more. He didn't want that. He left. Mister, I'm going somewhere where I have a better chance to win a national championship. Yeah,
that was crazy.
Yeah, that was crazy. But this is going to be a good game regardless. LSU playing much better defense this year. And Vanderbilt is doing their thing as well. So, and just shout outs to Clark Lee, man, former Notre Dame defensive coordinator and Vandy alum. Now he's got his school looking good in the SEC, which is not an easy thing to do. But I will tell you, and we've talked about it, Ryan, this transfer portal and NIL deal, man, changed the whole game up.
Change the game.
Pardon me. It's beautiful. Oh, excuse me, y'all. My bad. Got me just out here clicking stuff. There we go. Whoa. Okay. Sheesh. Sorry, guys. You know what? Another sneaky good game here. Washington at Michigan. And I was looking at Michigan's schedule. They probably could end up 9-3. Now, if they can not lose until the end of the if they go undefeated up until the very last game, which will be Ohio State, which they're probably not going to win, they'll finish 9-3, which is going to be a pretty solid year. Obviously, you're always looking for, especially if you're 2 years removed from a national title, you think you're a lot closer than 9-3, but in reality, 9-3 would be a pretty good finish for Michigan this year. So that Washington game, I think, is going to be good. Army at Tulane, neither one ranked, but I need Army picking up these wins and getting ready for Navy, because I swear I can't deal with a whole nother year of having to listen to Transformer sing the Navy song every day. I can't do it.
Not gonna be able to do it.
Can't do it. Drives me crazy. But yeah. And then here we get. So as we see, like, the schedule is not great for this weekend at all. Ohio State, Wisconsin.
Ole Miss, Georgia. That'll be good.
This game here, Ohio State, Wisconsin, it might not even be. This game might get Luke Fickell fired if Ohio State decides to run it up on him. He might be going. He might not. They might be like, yo, you can't even go in the locker room. His key card not going to work.
That's yeah.
Yeah. This is a big one here.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss and Georgia. Now we're going to see just how good Ole Miss really is.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we heard Steve talking about how he doesn't believe in Ole Miss, and we know Lane Kiffin can coach. They have a really dynamic quarterback at Ole Miss there, but I think Kirby Smart, man. I think Georgia just probably has a little too much talent. It's going to be a good game, though. I'm actually going to watch that. I'm not an SEC guy, but obviously I will be watching that because I got to watch something while I wait for 7:30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Stop me at any time here, guys, if there's a game that you see that you're interested in.
Nah, those are the only ones this week for me.
Yeah.
Unless I'm just flipping around and be like, oh dang, this is a close game. Let me sit and watch the rest of this one.
Right. I'm kind of interested a little bit in this Penn State Iowa game because I want to see how Penn State looks if they get that momentary, shot of juice after the dismissal. If the interim head coach can kind of, pick them up a little bit off the mat, so to speak. And I want to see if
they don't have a quarterback, so that's going to be interesting too.
Yeah.
Don't have a quarterback, but not their main guy. But everything going to be different. New guy,
sure.
It's all different. So
great point. And I also want to see if this Iowa 37-0 beatdown of Wisconsin was a fluke, or if they've suddenly discovered some real offense. Right. Here we go. This guy's on drugs. Ty Simpson, best quarterback in college? No. Ty Simpson's not better than CJ Carr. No. Next. Look at this one. Come on, man.
Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech.
Nah, man. Nah. Cocaine's a hell of a drug. That's not happening. So I think Tennessee is going to get smacked in this game. Bama looks good, man. Bama looks good. And shout out to Kalen DeBoer, man. He had a little tough sledding early on. And again, so much of that is because the Bama fans are so spoiled, and rightfully so, because of what they were able to accomplish under Coach Saban. But Kalen DeBoer, he's kind of got that thing rolling again. So I'm not mad at that at all. Now, it's unfortunate that game is going to be on at the same time as this game. So, hey.
We'll have that one on the laptop or something.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the the YouTube TV split screen.
Yeah,
hopefully. Yeah, because man, that's gonna be too. Right. Exactly. Be ready. Exactly. Oh my gosh.
Pretty interesting with Missouri and Auburn. First road game for Missouri this year. I got to go to Auburn at night over there at Jordan here. Tricky for Missouri. That's tricky.
You know what? That's a great one, Carlos. But it's odd. Like, you're wondering, are you feeling like, because this is his second year, you're feeling like Hugh Freeze might be in some trouble?
Probably, because Auburn hasn't really, been, how do you say, like, meeting expectations. You can say that. Yeah, but definitely playing at Auburn, is a tricky game. It's gonna be a tricky game. It's not gonna be easy for Missouri, but that's a game to look out for. If it gets close down the line, I think that's a game that's gonna be close.
There you go. Steve King of the chat says he thinks Hugh Freeze is gonna get fired, which is crazy. Did he suddenly forget how to coach? Because remember, he was really good at Ole Miss. Then he went to Liberty. He got Liberty, undefeated and into a New Year's Six bowl.
Yeah.
And then, he goes back to Auburn, and all of a sudden he can't get it done. This is very interesting. And their quarterback used to be the quarterback at Oklahoma. Yep. So, I mean, he's not a bum, theoretically. All right. See, Utah and BYU. That should be interesting.
Yes.
That's the Mormon battle out there. And then, so not a great slate of games at all for week 8, but we know what the big ones are. So this is one I might have to pay a little more attention to Shout out Carlos on this one. Missouri at Auburn. Looking to see what they do. But definitely Tennessee, Bama, Notre Dame, USC, Penn State, Iowa for me. I don't know about anyone else, but I'm curious to see what Iowa is going to do here. And
and how Penn State going to look just in general.
Right. And that Ole Miss at Georgia at 3:30. It's going to be a really good game in the afternoon. So, yeah, there we go.
Yep.
All right. Well, look, we are going to leave it right there. Let me go ahead and shut this down. We're going to leave it right there, guys. Great show. Thanks for joining in. Carlos.
Yes.
Really appreciate you being here, man. Thank you for sharing your thoughts and your insights on what's going on, man. And we're going to have you back, man. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much for having me.
No doubt, man. Brian, always, man.
Hey, man,
couldn't do it without you, brother.
Absolutely. I appreciate you.
Yeah, man. Really appreciate you being here and just, obviously sharing your insights, sharing your experience, and just bringing the real deal feel to the Format Podcast, college football talk, man. Thank you for that.
Glad I can.
Yeah, that'll be it, man. So there you go. Carlos 2028. Yes, sir.
Yep.
Yeah. But listen, once more, just a reminder, if you haven't already, hit like and subscribe to this channel. Make sure you share this for your friends that you talk and debate college football with and sports in general. That's what we do here on the Format Podcast. Got tons of content. Check it out. And once you've done that, make sure you go over to the Be Ready Sports Podcast. Shout out Carlos and Coach T and show them the love. Carlos, Coach T says, do the outro, man.
Okay, so Ryan, our outro, I'm gonna count us out. I'm gonna say 3, 2, 1, and then I'm assuming Bruce, you know it, right? So I'm gonna count us out. And then Bruce, you're gonna say be ready. Ryan, you're gonna say stay ready. All right.
Stay ready.
Yep.
Cool.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Be ready.
Stay ready.
And we out,
y'all. Have a good night, y'all. Appreciate it.